back, come up with no test that would reliably gauge, gauge or gauge the animal's mental capacity. Besides, Travis had a hunch that the dog will not cooperate in a Travis had a hunch that the dog will not cooperate in a test. Most of the time, it seemed instinctively to conceal its cleverness. It oh crap. Mistaken cleverness for cleverness. I don't crazy. Most of the time, it seemed instinctively to conceal its cleverness. He recalled its witlessness and comical clumsiness in pursuit of the butterfly, then contrasted that behavior with the wit and agility required to turn on the passive water faucet. Those actions appear to be the work of two different animals. Though it was a crazy idea, Travis suspected that the retriever did not wish to draw attention to itself and that it revealed its uncanny intelligence only in times of crisis, as in the woods, or if it was very hungry, as when it had opened the glove compartment in the truck to obtain a candy bar, or if no one was watching, as when it had turned on the water faucet. This was a preposterous idea because it suggested that the dog was not only highly intelligent for one of its species, but was aware of the extraordinary nature of its own abilities. Dogs, all animals, in fact, simply did not possess the high degree of self awareness required to analyze themselves in comparison to others of their kind. Comparative analysis was strictly a human quality. If a dog was especially bright and capable of many tricks, it would still not be aware it was different from most of its kind. To assume this dog was in fact aware of such things was to credit it not only with remarkable intelligence, but with the capacity for reason and logic, and with the facility for rational judgment superior to the instant that ruled the divisions of all other animals. You, Travis told the retriever, gently stroking its head, are an enigma wrapped in a mystery. Either that or I'm a candidate for a rubber room. The dog looked at him in response to his voice, gazed into his eyes for a moment, yawned, and suddenly jerked its head up and stared beyond him at the bookshelves that flanked the archway between the living and dining rooms. The satisfied, dopey, doggy expression on his face had vanished, replaced by the keen interest Travis had seen before, which transcended ordinary canine canine alertness. Scrambling off the sofa, the retriever dashed to the bookshelves. It ran back and forth beneath them, looking up at the colorful spines of the neatly arranged volumes. The rental house came fully. It unimaginatively and cheaply furnished. Uh, the rental house came if unimagined it the rental house came fully if unimaginatively the rental house came fully if unimaginatively and cheaply furnished with upholstery chosen for durability, vinyl, or for the ability to conceal in er, ineradicable, ineradicable. How do you pronounce the word ineradicable? Destroyed. Well, I was saying it way off. Ineradicable comes from the word eradicate, to destroy totally. Considered a conflict to root out, eliminate, or completely remove. Ineradicable, impossible to eliminate. Wow, that's a nice word. Oh, you're so hard to ineradicable. You're so hard to ineradicable. What? And while it often describes negative things like diseases, hostility, or inequalities, it can also be used for positive traits such as admiring a friend's ineradicable optimism. I admire your I admire your optimism. I think it's ineradicable. Mm. I admire your confidence. I think it's ineradicable. Does this sense make sense? I admire your confidence. Think it's ineradicable. Ineradicable. Mm. I like the word ineradicable. I like it. I love it. Yo, your happiness is so ineradicable. I love it. Unable to be removed, not easily shaken. Ineradicable. 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 The ability to conceal ineradicable stains. Eye searing, eye searing plates. Instead of wood, there was lots of wood finish formica that was resistant to chipping, scratching, abrasion, and cigarette burns. Virtually the only things in the place reflecting Travis Cornell's own taste and interest were the books, both paperbacks and hardcovers, that filled the shelves in the living room. The dog appeared to be intensely curious about at least some of those few hundred volumes. Getting to his feet, Travis said, "What is it, boy? What got your tail in an uproar?" The retriever jumped onto its hind feet, put its forepaws on one of the shelves, and sniffed the spines of the books of the and sniffed the and sniffed the spines of the books. It glanced at Travis, then returned to its eager examination of his library. He went to the shelf in question, withdrew one of the volumes to which the dog had pressed its nose. Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson, and held it out. This? You're interested in this? The dog studied the painting of Long John Silver and the pirate ship that adorned the dust jacket. It looked up at Travis, then down at Long John Silver again. After a moment, it dropped back from the shelf onto the floor, dashed. After a moment, it dropped back from the shelf onto the floor, dashed to the shelves on the other side of the archway, leaped up again, and began sniffing other books. Travis replaced Treasure Island and followed the retriever. It was now applying its damp nose to his collection of Charles Dickens novels. Travis picked up a paperback of A Tale of Two Cities. Again, the retriever carefully studied the cover illustration as if actually trying to determine what the book was about. Then looked up expectantly at Travis. Utterly baffled, he said. The French Revolution, Gillian, guillotines, guillotines, beheadings, tragedy, and heroism. It's well, it's all about the importance of valuing individuals over groups, about the need to place a far greater value on one man's or woman's life than on the advancement of the masses. The dog returns its attention to the tomes shelved in front of it, sniffing, sniffing. This is nuts, Travis said, putting A Tale of Two Cities back where it got in it. I'm giving plot synopses, snip, synopses, synopses, synopses. Synopses. Concise overview of a summary that outlines the main point. Longer writing. Okay, so synopses. It's like a summary of a main point, like the main point. I'm giving plot synopses to a dog. For God's sake. Dropping its big forepaws down to the next shelf, the retriever panted and snuffled over the literature on that row. When Travis did not pull any of those books out for inspection, the dog tilted its head to get into the shelf, gently gripped a volume in his teeth and tried to withdraw it for further examination. Whoa, Travis said, reaching for the book. Keep your slubber off the fine bindings, Furface. This one's Oliver Twist, another Dickens, the story of an orphan in Victorian England. He gets involved with shady characters, the criminal underworld, and the retriever dropped to the floor and padded back to the shelves on the other side of the archway, where it continued to sniff at those volumes within its reach. Travis could have sworn it even gazed up wistfully at the books that were above its head for perhaps 5 minutes, in the grip of an eerie premonition that's in the grip of an eerie premonition that something of tremendous importance was about to happen. Travis followed the dog, showing it the covers of a dozen novels, providing a line or two of plot description of each story. He had no idea if that was what the precautious pooch wanted him to do. Surely it could not understand that it could not understand the synopses he provided. Yet it seemed to listen rapidly as he spoke. He knew he must be misinterpreting essentially meaningless animal behavior, attributing complex intentions to the dog when he had none. Still, a premonitory tingle coursed along the back of his neck. As their peculiar search continued, Travis half expected some startling revelation at any moment, and at the same time felt increasingly gullible and foolish. His taste in fiction was eclectic. Yeah, eclectic. Among the volumes he took off the shelves, among the volumes he took off the shelves were Bradbury's Something Wicked, This Way Comes, and Chandler's The Long Goodbye. Kane's The Postman Always Rings Twice, and Hemingway, The Sun Also Rises. Two books by Richard Condon and one by Ann Tyler. Dorothy Sayers' Murder Must Advertise, and Elmore Leonard 52's 50, and Elmore damn, and Elmore Leonard's 52 pickup. And at last, the dog turned away from the books and went to the middle of the room where it padded back and forth, clearly agitated. It stopped, confronted Travis, and barked 3 times. What's wrong, boy? The dog whined, looked at the laden shelves, walked in a circle, and peered up at the books again. It seemed frustrated, thoroughly, maddeningly frustrated. I don't know what more to do, boy, he said. I don't know what you're after, what you're trying to tell me. The dog snorted and shook itself, lowering its head in defeat. It returned resignedly to the sofa and curled up on the cushions. That's all? Travis asked. We're just giving up? Putting its head down on the sofa, it regarded him with moist, soulful eyes. Travis turned from the dog and let his gaze travel slowly over the books as if they not only offer the information printed on their pages, but also contained an important message that could not be easily read, as if their colorful spines were the strange runes of a long lost language, and once deciphered, would reveal wondrous secrets, but he could not decipher them. Having believed that he was on the trembling edge of some great revelation, Travis felt enormously let down. His own frustration was considerably worse than what the dog had exhibited 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 exhibited, and he could not merely curl up on the sofa, put his head down, and forget the whole thing was as the retriever had done. What the hell was that all about? He demanded. The dog looked up at him, inscrutable, inscrutable, inscrutable. Does inscrutable means like what does inscrutable means like disappointing? What does it mean? So excuse me. Someone or something that's mysterious, possible to interpret. Inscrutable. Ziggy. Stop. All right, we're gonna leave right there. So a quick recap of what I just read. It's Travis and the retriever back at it again. So Travis is trying to figure out the dog. The dog is going around sniffing Travis's books, and is out here thinking, "Oh, the dog might actually be onto something." When towards the end is just nothing. The dog is just sniffing. But Travis has this idea that the dog is gonna prove its intelligence and it's just do something crazy, but the dog ain't do nothing. The dog just returned back from sniffing the books, all disappointed when Travis was explaining each and every book that the dog was pointing out to him, that the dog was pointing out. And towards the end, Travis is just disappointed that the dog didn't really do anything extraordinary, didn't really meet his expectations. But yeah, that's where I left off. Dang, that's what I that's what I read. Quick recap.